All right, guys, today we are going to cover the nutrient cycles of matter. All right, on Edgenuity, they call these cycles of matter, but I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth and teach you about why these cycles of matter is important. All right, and the different implications on these cycles of matter. All right, meaning what are the problems that we are facing with these huge cycles of matter today? All right. Okay, now from the beginning, I mentioned that the universe is either matter or energy, and life is a very complex combination of these two things. All right, everything in the universe is either matter or energy or a combination. Okay, of course, if you were a physicist, then you would cover things like dark matter and antimatter. All right, however, if you're not, then you don't really have to be worried about these very theoretical concepts. Okay, so for my class, universe is made up of either matter or energy, and you, being a living thing, is a combination of both. Okay, now we are in a branch of biology, the study of life, called ecology. All right, and ecology is the study of interactions between an organism, a living thing, and their environment. Okay, so ecology, study of interactions or relationships. Okay, now an organism may interact with living things. All right, and these are called biotic factors. All right, an organism may interact with non-living things like their environment. All right, and these are called abiotic factors. Okay, for those of you guys that are still having problems, okay, here you got your happy face spider, all right, it's alive, so it's a biotic factor, all right, this EEV, native honey creeper from Hawaii, it's biotic, all right, this tree right here, also biotic, okay, oh, wait, here's a hard one, see this ocean and this wave right here, oh, it's abiotic. All right, the mountains, the clouds, the sun, abiotic factors. Okay, I will discuss organic nutrients and inorganic nutrients more in depth when we cover the food chain, food web, and the transfer of energy. All right, right now we are just interested in matter. Okay, but FYI, nutrients, all right, there are two kinds of nutrients. There are organic nutrients, okay, and this gives you energy or calories, all right, and then there are also inorganic nutrients, and this is things that your body needs, but it does not give you calories, no energy, okay. Examples of these would be vitamins and minerals. All right, examples of your organic nutrients would be proteins, lipids, aka fats, all right, and sugars and carbohydrates. Okay. Okay, now both organic and inorganic nutrients, all right, most of them are composed of five different elements. Okay, and these five different elements we do need to again create our macromolecules, our proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids. Okay, five elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and below that, phosphorus. Okay, the majority of our bodies are composed of these five elements. All right, these five elements will make up all of our proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. Okay, one thing to notice is that phosphorus is the has the heaviest mass, or it has the most mass out of all the five major elements that compose most of our bodies. All right, and you will notice this once I cover the phosphorus cycle. All right, one way to think about it is phosphorus can, it's not really true, but one way to think about it, phosphorus is heavy. All right, this is the only nutrient cycle that does not go into the air slash aka the atmosphere. Okay, so again, 5 elements that comprise the 4 macromolecules of life. Okay, again, what this means is that most of our bodies are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Okay, and these 5 elements, elemental atoms, make up all of our lipids or fats, carbohydrates, aka sugars and complex carbohydrates, all right, proteins, okay, and your nucleic acids, your DNA. Okay, so under them I have CNH. This stands for carbon and hydrogen. Carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. And DNA, nucleic acids, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Okay. Now this is mostly FYI. All right, it could help you learn. All right. However, we're actually going to cover the 5 nutrient cycles of matter. Okay, these 4 cycles of matter will cycle all of your carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus, right, through from the environment into living things and then back out into the environment. All right, do understand that these are huge cycles that take place on the planet. All right, they may span across the globe. They may go from the North Pole to the South Pole. All right, they may take tens of thousands, if not more, years to complete the cycles. Okay, huge cycles of matter, and it's how these types of matter get into living things and back out into the abiotic environment, right? Your biotic living things and your abiotic environment. Okay, we're gonna start off with the water cycle. All right, and then we will cover the implications of each. Okay, so here are the words to the picture. I will have the picture up next. Okay, first off, how the cycle works, and then of course the implications down here. All right. Okay, first, how the cycle works. Water evaporates, condenses into clouds, precipitates as rain, sleet, or snow, hail maybe, all right, falls onto the land. Producers absorb water to go through photosynthesis, okay, and they will release water through transpiration, a process called transpiration. Plants actually release a lot of water in the form of water vapor, a gas, through the process transpiration. Now, the water may also seep into the land and get locked for a very long time. All right, this is called seepage. All right, seepage into the land. Or the water may run off the land back into the ocean, and that's called runoff. Animals, all right, will drink water as either runoff or seepage, and then animals will urinate out the water. All right, and then of course that contributes to either runoff or seepage. Okay. Um, here's the implications of the water cycle. The balance of runoff and seepage can control the stability of an ecosystem and our environment. All right. Okay, here's the picture on the cycle. First, start from a huge body of water. All right, do understand these are cycles. There's no starting point, but for me, I will make number one, in my opinion, the easiest starting point. All right, for this, for water, it's the ocean. A large body of water, the ocean. Okay, first evaporation happens. Water is in the air through evaporation. Okay, water will condense, all right, into clouds. Once it gets too heavy, or if it gets too high in the atmosphere and energy is taken away from it, it will fall back into a lower energy state in the form of rain, sleet, snow, or hail. Okay, and it will precipitate out onto the land. From here, water will contribute to either runoff back into the ocean or seepage, all right, deep underground, and it will contribute to groundwater. All right, water may get trapped down there for a very long time. All right. And of course, plants will absorb either groundwater seepage or runoff, and plants will go through photosynthesis. Then they will release water in the form of a gas through the pores in their leaves, and this process is known as transpiration. All right, it's actually a very huge amount of water. Right, some huge rainforests, such as the Amazon. All right, the Amazon actually produces so much transpiration that the Amazon rainforest actually creates their own rain and its own clouds. Okay, you guys can actually Google videos of this. The Amazon rainforest producing the river in the sky and producing their own rain. Okay. Okay, animals will either drink, groundwater, runoff, or seepage, and then they will urinate it out, and it will contribute to back to again either groundwater, seepage, or runoff. Okay, and that completes your water cycle. All right. Okay, in Hawaii, what's important is that we, on most of our major islands, except for Kaho'olawe, we do have a lot of groundwater. Okay, so this is one of the implications of the water cycle. Okay, we drink groundwater, right? Board of Water Supply digs up this groundwater, right, and then they pump it through your pipes, and that's the water that we get in our faucets. Do understand that Hawaii's groundwater, Hawaii's tap water, is one of, if not the cleanest water supplies on the planet. Okay, do understand that. So if you guys buy bottled water all the time, okay, do understand that we do have one of the cleanest supplies, if not the cleanest, okay, supplies of tap water on the planet. Okay, from our groundwater to form, right, from rain, it takes about 25 years for this rain, this precipitation, to filter through our hollow lava rock and into our underwater ground supply. All right, our underwater aquifer ground supply. Okay, so that's one thing to think about. And all of our major islands do have this, except for Kaho'olawe. Right, the military did bomb through the aquifer system, and then of course all the salt water from the outside flowed into the groundwater aquifer of Kaho'olawe. Right, other than that, all of the other major islands does have this groundwater well supply. Okay, now here are some other implications of the water cycle. Naturally, precipitation will seep into the land, right? Runoff and seepage will be balanced, all right? The land will absorb water and it will slowly release the water, filtering it, all right? And then, of course, once it's filtered, it will flow back into the ocean. And the natural water cycle continues, okay, through evaporation, condensation, runoff, seepage, and back into the huge body of water. Okay, now what we have done as a species is we've actually closed off this seepage supply. We have built buildings. See the buildings up here? We've paved the land. Okay, we've created roads, asphalt. All right, so in this case, what we have done is we have increased runoff into the ocean and we have decreased the seepage into the land. Once this happens, all right, the land no longer absorbs the water. The runoff increases every time it rains. You've got flooding, all right? And of course, because the land could not absorb the water, right, it cannot slowly release the water back out. Therefore, once it rains, it floods, it pours. Once it doesn't rain, all the stream beds will dry up, okay? Now, that's not a very stable environment. Okay, what scientists have proposed to counter this, environmental scientists have proposed that below every major city or area of urbanization, right, we create a wetland treatment before the water runs off back into your streams and your oceans. Okay? Now, in this case, the rainwater will run off. However, it won't run off into the ocean. It will run off into this swampy wetland treatment, right? From there, the water can sit. There can be some seepage into the land for groundwater, all right? You also have a lot of different plants in this wetland treatment. These plants will absorb all the nutrients, and then, of course, slowly the water gets filtered and the water gets released slowly, all right, back into your huge bodies of water, such as your oceans and streams. Okay, in this case, this wetland treatment has balanced out the seepage and the runoff. All right, and Hawaii used to have this system. Hawaii used to have this system, and this is in the form of your taro patches, aka your lo'i. Okay, there was a construction, or not construction, but their altering of the ecosystem above, and the lo'i would always rest below. All right, and in this case, the lo'i, aka your taro patch, would absorb all the nutrients of the land, would allow time for seepage, okay, and it would slowly release this water back into the ocean. Here's another thing to think about. Not only does the lo'i provide or create stability in terms of seepage and runoff, it also produced a huge amount of food for the community. All right. These lo'i used to be very huge. All of Waikiki used to be a swamp and was said to be a huge, huge taro patch. All right. The entire island of Molokai also used to be a huge taro patch. Right. So these wetland treatments were very huge. Okay, and they really did fulfill the role in balancing out the seepage and runoff for an ecosystem. Okay, we're on to the carbon cycle.